Hello everyone and welcome back to the video. Today I'm going to be starting a brand new series on the channel, and it's an idea that's been recommended a lot from you guys in the comments, and I'm very excited to finally be able to bring it to the channel. I'm doing a lot of new stuff with the YouTube content these days, and I'm just trying to see what fits for me and what I enjoy doing. But really just trying to diversify on the main channel, because as you guys know, and if you guys don't know, I have a secondary YouTube channel, link in the description, where every single day I post a gameplay. So every single day you have a 1v1 high level for myself versus a different opponent, different map, whatever the case may be. And so for those who love gameplay, you always have my Twitch streams, but you also have that secondary YouTube channel that's going to be a very good source for that craving. But anyways, back to the main topic here. We're going to be starting a new series, which is going to be me going over classic or memorable or legendary games from past top tier tournaments, and kind of reminiscing and going through the game, seeing what went down, kind of commentating on the game itself from my perspective now, which is going to be usually months or even years later. And it's just something that's really cool to revisit after some time has passed. So for this particular video, we're going to be taking a look at Hidden Cup 4, the grand final between me, John the Fearless, versus Jordan, Admiral Yi Sun-Shin. And so this is game 4 in the best of 7, and it's going to be on Cup. It's a really classic game. I don't want to spoil what happens in this game, so I'm going to go ahead and just play out the video, and I'll give my commentary on top of Dave and Tinani, who are going to be casting the game. And we're going to go ahead and see what went down. So for those who know what happened, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And for those that don't know what happened, then definitely you're in for a treat here. It's kind of a banger game. And like I said, just going to be picking tournament games that are memorable and that something, pretty out of the ordinary happened that makes it memorable. So this is definitely fitting that category in my opinion. And let's hop right in.
Start from what I can see. We're going to switch the Admiral over to red again. Has consistently picked teal. Japanese in the northeastish for the Admiral, and then John the Fearless is playing as the Celts. I prefer Japanese if Japanese take water control and end up going into an infantry battle here, Dave.
Yeah, and we could see that the last Civ matchup, right? Japanese have a lot of options, and the Drush was super strong for John the Fearless. So he probably knows what they're capable of. But look at Admiral's map here, Tristan. Where is the wood? What is going on?
That is very far away. And you could also argue that this is really close for John the Fearless. I mean, it's on the backside. Berries are on the backside. Stones on the backside. Gold's on the backside. You have like 2 houses and some palisade walls, and you are walled. But it is definitely a weird shape here. That's how it goes sometimes. And John the Fearless running forward. Now, you can lame quite easily on this map if you want to. Admiral lamed John the Fearless earlier on in this series. Let's see what happens. There's 2 boars. You're really close to your base if you want to take the risk. I think you should, Dave. He's going for it. And
yeah, he is going for it.
I actually don't remember myself laming here, so this is really interesting to see what goes down. But as the commentators were talking about, it's Celts Japanese on Cup, which is a bit of a hybrid map here, and I'm going to go ahead and snag that boar. And it's crazy because I literally don't remember laming. I thought I wasn't going to grab that one. Just because I didn't want to take the risk, but look at that, me taking the risk here, and see what goes down here.
Over here, just get in front. Oh, and he stopped it. That's huge.
Yeah, that was huge. John went a little bit too far,
and that explains why I don't remember it, because I don't actually end up with the boar, so that makes sense. And that's obviously the downside of laming. So now I'm down, half HP on my scout pretty much, and I'm also wasting a lot of time where I could be scouting the map. Just kind of taking his boar, attempting to take his boar. I could actually grab it again. Not sure if I decide to do that. Let's see. Sheep is also there. This kind of early game shenanigan is really good when you're able to disturb your opponent, slow him down, take resources away from him, and give them to yourself. It's always a nice thing to look for. And obviously in tournaments like this, there's no mercy. You can see me adding a drush right now. It's a very common tactic with the Celts. If you guys didn't watch this tournament and watch the other sets of this tournament, basically the common thing here, and kind of just so you understand this game, Celts was a very popular civ, but I had never played it up until this game. I was always playing Britons and Japanese for the most part, and I was countering Celts by using infantry like champions or samurai to counter the halberdier or the infantry spam that Celts tend to go for. And even if it ended up being champions or wood waiters versus like Japanese champions or samurai, the Japanese side always wins. So that's kind of the idea that I had going into it. But Celts is a very popular pick from my enemies. And in this final, in the grand finals, I decided to pick Celts myself. Just because that's how the draft played out. And I had prepared something very spicy going into it to counter Japanese in that way. So that's kind of the setup for you guys here. And looks like I've got the drush, and I'm looking for some attack.
They walk that way. Okay. Like that left one's not actually
quick
built.
wall
But
from
something
Jordan.
tells
yeah,
me you
it's only
can't
a
go that way.
foundation. Yeah, otherwise he would have gone through there. But yeah, he just lets him walk right around. He doesn't even palisade wall it. Fights it off with the villagers for the time being, and he's building up his militia number in his barracks.
This is good. He
So
got
maybe
some
he
hits.
can just kill all this. Yep.
Yeah, he got some hits. He's getting his food. Whereas, you know, no real reward. But John loves his farms. John's like, forget about fish. John's not a big fan of salmon.
I do like farms, that's true.
I've seen that so frequently in Hidden Cup. Is just get into farms as quickly as possible. It's a sure thing, you know? Doesn't like to take any risks with this game. Has that much confidence. But now it's 3 militia versus like 2 3/4 militia. And also half a scout. So it should be better for Admiral here.
Yeah, so that's the downside of laming, obviously.
Yeah, John was trying to bait some idle time earlier with those. I don't think he ever really wanted to engage against the villagers because
Yeah.
the barracks was there. And now
micro.
both players probably going to cancel each other out with these drushes.
They're probably... The best play here, in my opinion, is a fast feudal behind it. So keep an eye on the food counts. And that's an opportunity for a scout hit there for Admiral. He has to dodge the TC here in a second. Oh, that was actually kind of awkward as John the Fearless catches up with the HP. Just ever so slightly. You see Loom coming in for John Dave. I think he'll click up to Feudal after this, make a transfer to Wood and Gold, and I think we'll see the exact same for Admiral, who already has Loom, actually. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, but Admiral had that fishing come.
Yeah, true. Now the vills are more exposed and, you know, eventually run out there versus a farm, which is like slow and steady and villagers are protected. But
Yeah, so at this point, not much has really happened in the early game. We both went for a drush, and that just means that, you know, the early game is in a trade-off. I'm going to transpose now into a feudal age. That's going to be a little bit more delayed than normal. And we're going to probably be fighting for the water here. Take a look at what's going on in the water. There's some deep fish that you can take with either fishing ships or villagers. So that's something you want to consider at some point in the game. Looks like Jordan wanted to go for it nice and early here. I just had to skip out on it entirely. That gives him an advantage, but it does put his villagers in a risky position, as T90 was mentioning earlier. And just in general, we're transposing into a very interesting mid-game. We have a lot of options. We can go for ranges to, you know, harass each other on land. We can add militia and go for men-at-arms, as you see me doing right now. And you can also go for a dock and add some fire galleys, some demo ships, maybe even some galleys. There's really a ton of options on this map, and it's, in my opinion, the reason why it's such a fun map to play here. Looks like Jordan, I think he's docking up top here. I can see from the minimap, but let's go ahead and see what goes down now.
loving this so much. It will be 5 Japanese militia here. Now, they will attack faster starting in feudal, and then Celt infantry moves faster starting in feudal. And watch them zip away here. Ready?
And
Whoop!
John the Fearless has found these 2 villagers that made the mill at the north.
Ooh.
I don't think he can engage against this because there's the 4 militia trailing behind.
Yeah.
Both players going into men-at-arms as well. So similar, Tristan.
Yep.
Dave, this base, which
It was a
looked
mill, not
awkward,
a
is
dock,
actually
by the way.
super nice with that big wall off on the wood line, so that's protected. And now you have the villager and the failed quick wall, and the dock has to be deleted there. So Admiral is in a better position, if you ask me.
Yep. And John the Fearless was planning on going for a dock in Feudal Age. Now he's going for a dock on the northern side.
Okay, and it's the
But he's
same
gonna
for
be-
Admiral.
Definitely going to be annoyed by this man-at-arms and the scout. There's a weak villager there, Tristan.
Japanese for you, and oh no! She's gonna survive. What a save from. Don't do it. Don't
Maybe-
you do it. That's mean. Don't you do it. Don't you. She survives.
Huge.
What a tease.
I
And the
don't
man at
remember
arm
that.
goes down.
Oh my goodness. Can't believe he couldn't get that villager and losing the scout as well.
Yeah. Scout very weak for John the Fearless. Hesitant to take any engagements against the Japanese men-at-arms, I'm sure. But remember, in a 4v4 fight, the Japanese men-at-arms should destroy. So you need to have some quick walls here if you're John.
John the Fearless going for a fire ship in the north. I feel like he knows those 2 villagers are there. Maybe opt for a demo first so you can get both
Yeah.
of those.
I think that Admiral should be forcing fights soon because now there's an archer. So now you're at more of a disadvantage. I think fighting there would have been a better play. But it's hard to run and buy time against Celts when they can chase you down, right?
Well, he doesn't want to buy that much time. He just wants to get the walls down. You can see the idea from him, right? He's walled that whole left-hand side. He's walling the whole right-hand side.
Oh, the scout survives. Oh, get her. Get him. Oh, my God. The TC's the sniper. Okay. And now he takes the fight. It's a good call from you, Dave. And even the man-at-arm goes in after the archer just to weaken that, which will be the most important thing.
Yeah, and by the time these units come back across, fully walled.
Villagers are going down on water, and villagers will be pulled off of water. Okay. So now it's just a transition into land eco and archers for both. So this is one of the more enjoyable cross games I've seen at the opening because it's been so complicated yet so simple in some ways.
Yeah, this is a great cross game.
Or not, I mean cup. Sorry. It's been a long day, people. It's been a long day.
Yeah, it has been a long day. You can see the viewership here as well. 55,000 live viewers on Hidden Cup 4, which is absolutely crazy. So the game just transposes now into a bit of a water, aggression plus some land aggression, but nothing too crazy. No one's heavily committing. We both have a dock on that left-hand side. He obviously denied the dock on the right-hand side, so that, just kind of fizzled. I lost one vill. He lost nothing yet. And I'm trying to push in on this right-hand side with the remaining land units. But overall, it's a very even game. I would say he's slightly ahead, but it's too early to say who's going to win or who's got a really big lead here. So just a small advantage for him. He's also very comfortable behind the walls right now. I'm only getting my walls down right now. But I do have this nice little aggression here with the 2 men-at-arms. I might be able to find some nice damage here as I walk into his base.
Lack of hesitation from the blue player as he's getting some great pickoffs, Dave, and he's in. Oh, the micro difference is huge between these two, and villagers are going to go down now. Can't help but think back to the moment where John the Fearless was able to save that weak villager earlier. Yep. None of these villagers are being saved by Admiral.
It's a good gate there from Admiral, really good response, but can't quite keep up with the units from John the Fearless, and John the Fearless's reinforcements just keep coming right through that hole.
Yeah.
And he's clearing up the archer numbers. All the villagers there are idle. He's winning these engagements. This looks very Leary-esque, Hera-esque, Viper-esque, where they just managed to win the tiny engagements at the beginning of the game and snowball that to victory.
But also, horrible pop cap. It's not you're halfway building the house. You completely forgot the house, and that he was at a numbers disadvantage. So the micro is impressive from John the Fearless, but it's just not the execution you need here to win the Hidden Cup 4 finals if you're Admiral. And now we know how good John the Fearless is with macro, and that macro is happening at home. The farms are everywhere, 700 food in the bank, and we're going to see a click up, Dave, that is like so much faster.
So this is the fun thing about tournaments, because we practice these like specific maps, specific civs, we actually all have really clean builds unless something bad happens. As you can see, something really bad happened to Jordan there. He lost a couple vills and he got his food income, especially his farms, delayed. And so now his macro's slipping, but that's just because, like I said, something bad actually went down. For me, because like I said, we've practiced the builds, we know exactly what we want to go for. I'm able to click up at some crazy time here, and as long as nothing bad happens to me, which nothing too crazy happened besides me losing a villager, I end up getting a really smooth transition. So at this point, I would say I have a pretty massive advantage. Got a lot of value from those archers and a couple men-at-arms. And I'm going to be transitioning into Castle Age now. The idea on this map is that you have a few plays in Castle Age. You can either go for some crazy pushes with especially Celt Siege being incredibly strong, but you can also go off with your economy and get a nice boom. You can do pretty much all kinds of things. You can go for water, you can try to control the gold on the top or in like that middle area. So there's a lot of options that you can go for, and I actually don't remember what options I do go for, so it's going to be nice to see what goes down. But I do see I have a villager here, and so maybe that's going to be a forward siege. That being said, good play from Jordan here to push in at the right time, finding some picks that might actually save him a lot of grief in this game. Does kill the villager too, so good pick from there for him right there. And yeah, it's just going to be hard for him to deal with the castage now. I'm up 2 minutes faster. Let's see what goes down after this.
From him, but not many areas to hit other than these fishing ships.
So I think there's moments where I say, well, this person's got military control, So they're going to be able to buy time for 2 minutes. When I watch John the Fearless play, I don't worry so much about the pressure that's going to come in, and that's going to come apparently, but it's more about the booming, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I just always expect to see a second and a third town center show up behind these walls.
John wanted to go for a forward siege workshop, but that galley is going to do really well against the archers and can delay the siege workshop for a long time. So he's actually forced into going for a dock.
Way to recover here, Admiral. Seriously.
Yeah.
Beautiful recovery to buy time, and now only 60 seconds away from Castle Age. We'll also have 2 ranges producing, and that dock could even be denied too here, Dave.
Another villager.
Yeah, this is absolutely massive from Jordan right now. What he's doing is stalling out my early Castle Age, and also getting some really good trades and getting on the water before me. So, all things considered, this is probably the best thing that could have happened with me getting the earlier castle, and he stays relatively safe. The downside, though, is what's going on behind the scenes. I'm adding a town center right away here, and I'm going to be adding another town center pretty much shortly after, if I remember correctly now, seeing my wood and stone are sitting there. So I'm probably going to be up on 3 TCs relatively quickly. That being said, Jordan does have a lot of wood in the bank, so he can be doing the same as well. So I'm just a little bit faster to get my economy developed, but we're both looking somewhat similar here. It's nice that I'm able to use those fire galleys to help me break in, so it lets me, this is why I love hybrid maps, it lets you kind of do weird things that you don't normally see. But right here, normally a house would be unbreakable with just crossbows. With the fire galleys, maybe I can do something, but good defense from Jordan here. He also goes up with both eco upgrades, so he is definitely trying to keep up in economy and maybe even pull ahead as time goes on. Let's see what happens. We're both on crossbows right now.
What a pest. What a pest. And now 4 crossbows have to go chase that.
You know, you were saying he needs to buy himself some time, and you thought he couldn't do it, but he has successfully done it. And now Blue looping around with the crossbows to the wood line. Ooh, Admiral needs to notice this quickly.
Oh, but he misclicked the TC. He misclicked the TC first. Sometimes it's really hard depending on the angle of the villagers, and so the TC will go up, Dave. And then the crossbows, and now John's got to buy some time, I think, by running away.
Mm-hmm.
This is really close. It's 50 eco for both. It's 17 to 12 with military. It's 64 pop a piece, people.
Another galley coming out as well. Like, what's his plan here? He's just going to build up galley numbers in this middle pond and hope to hold the south?
No real effort here from John to get value from his army, Dave, which is a surprise to me, as he loses some of these, but running away. I don't hate water control at all, and I think that even just a few galleys without being upgraded seem to get good trades against crossbows. I'd like to see...
Galleys were actually super popular on this map, so what people would do is that they just get water control, they'd go for a few war galleys just to force you off the shore, and then they also might prepare 1 or 2 demos to catch you as you walk across the middle lake. So water control from Jordan definitely going to be an option here. I don't think it's like OP or anything like that. It's not going to be like such a big deal. It's just going to make things very uncomfortable for me, and it's going to make me kind of shift my game plan around the fact that he's got that middle lake controlled, and he's also going to go ahead and try to get that top lake as well. So water control definitely does matter here. But my kind of approach right now, you can see I'm already mining stone. My kind of approach is just to get ahead in terms of economy and get back on the water later and try to go for that top water where the gold is. So that's kind of my idea going into things right now. Good play from Jordan to get a villager there, but I do have that Celt Mangonel. Maybe I can get some nice hits. He's staying a little bit too long there, if you ask me. I should probably respect the fact that I could have some siege out right now, but a lot of things going on, of course. Mangonel comes in, and let's see the micro.
Well, look at the micro, though, Dave. Look at the micro. He's going for the enemy crossbows. He knows the Mangonel is going to attack ground. He's split microing. This is beautiful from Admiral.
Okay, any Doubt fans in chat? You still think it's Doubt here? That was impressive, man.
Seriously.
That was really, really good micro in a tight spot.
Wait a second. We are not in the business of making jokes about player skill. Are you implying that Doubt wouldn't micro there?
That's kind of crazy, Dave. That's pretty disrespectful. If anything, that just confirms that it was Doubt. That was some crazy micro, though. Jordan gets away with some crossbows, and also just forces my Mangonel to chase him. So just being very annoying. And remember, he did kill that villager, so pretty successful raid there. He is getting his value from water control. But one very important thing that was just shown briefly here, look at the minimap. I've got a TC on the gold on top. That's like extremely important, because That TC, if you guys have watched my video on forward town centers, you're gonna know that having a town center forward on like your opponent's resource, or in this case a neutral resource, lets you stock up villagers around that area, which facilitates castles, to control the map, castles away from your base, and it lets you make them a lot easier because you have the villagers already there. So being able to take that gold nice and early and set up for a potential castle is fantastic. And you can see me taking now into war galley and a gold shaft mining. So my approach here is to try to win the water on the top side and just abuse that gold there. There's a ton of gold that's up for grabs. But of course, Jordan is also thinking the same, and he's going to go for a castle. Not the most aggressive castle, could be like a couple tiles further, but it's going to do the trick. It's going to control pretty much all the gold, and it's going to eventually kill that town center as well. So it's a great castle here, and he's using the fact that he's got water control to be able to secure that castle and secure that spot. Monks will get a conversion and, just trying to trade on the water as much as possible. But, he does get that castle eventually. Nice, good shot from me. Finally, that Mangonel did something. I feel like all the shots were kind of bad. Okay, that's pretty good. But yeah, we're just transposing now into a pretty solid late game where we have a few options each, mostly in terms of infantry. And also some naval units could come out. At this point, I'm forced to concede that gold area. Classic mistake from a lot of people. They see a castle and they just try to counter castle like right next to it. But that just leads to like a petard war or like a ram fight, and it's not always good, especially in this case where I don't have water control. So I decided to just concede completely that area and just go for the Treb war from far. I am Celt, so my Trebs are better, and I do have the better economy, so it's a pretty valid approach here. But it's not going to net me any insane advantage from the get-go. It's just going to kind of set me up for a pretty solid Imperial Age, which is kind of what I'm looking for.
And for John,
especially when you have enough stone for another one too.
Yeah.
Like get another one up, go to Imp, win the Treb war against that castle, and then you can try and get a good position off of that.
John does click up to the Imperial Age and in a position to make a second one. I think you can be pretty bold with this. Yeah. Just keep it right in the same spot. And if you go into a Treb war here, I know that when you think of Japanese, you think of their Trebs being strong, but rarely do you see that unique tech be realistic. This castle cannot be denied. And that could mean double the Trebs for John, who is well on his way to the Imperial Age. But can it be?
It can be delayed.
Okay, that's a good way of putting it. This is silly, repairing the Mangonel and attacking war galleys. And okay, so now I think what happened there is Admiral started to panic. And he said, oh shoot, he's up. And so he just quickly canceled everything. And he's on his way to Imp, which I guess in theory the eco might be a bit healthier, Dave, because he does have hand cart.
Yeah, if he didn't make the monk, if he didn't do a hand cart, if he canceled some villagers, he could have already been up by now, probably.
Yeah. Let's talk stone counts. Enough for another castle now for John. I think you actually should be patient here. I don't know if you should... Okay, never mind. All right, he's going to make a third. I thought... Just wait. Oh, okay, he's going to expand. Make a third over there. It's similar for Admiral, but I think Admiral might want to save stone for repairs. Which is my... That's why I felt it was important to bring that up as the Mangonel goes down. And the crossbows don't scale very well for John, but you probably don't want to fight here.
This is such a big investment on this middle area from both players. Like the stone for these castles, all the gold in the middle, you have to fight here. And you have to win this fight.
Especially in this matchup, because if Celts win the Treb War, Japanese cannot make Samurai, which we're actually seeing for Admiral. What if he says forget Trebs and just goes Elite Samurai?
I think 3 castles all within range of each other. It's going to be really tough, right? And then 3 castles on the other side. This is the great castle standoff in the middle. No one can collect the gold between them.
But it's instant 3 Trebs for John, who's going into stables? Stop making Hussars, just for once, please. I think this is Hera confirmed.
Tell me, are Celt Hussars the worst in the game? Where do these fall into your
ranking? You know
ranking?
What? They're definitely there. I don't even know. Do Celts get Hussars? They do get Hussars, so it's either not the worst. They're better than Korean Hussars, so at least there's some positives here.
True.
He's going to go Paladin. Is he actually going to go Paladin here? He's making Knights, Dave. Did he forget what Civ he is?
Celt Paladin is technically the strongest unit that they can make.
I think Siege Onagers would disagree, but I get your point. And
all right, we'll go in the scenario editor. I'll get 40 paladins, and you get 40 siege onagers. All right?
That's
And we'll
a
battle
fun
it
little
out.
challenge. All right. I'd probably
Actually,
end
tell
up
you what.
losing that.
I'll get 1 paladin, and you get 40 siege onagers.
Oh, come on. Don't insult me with those comments. I'm not that bad. Supplies now, but that's not a good sign for Admiral. He's giving up on the samurai dream. And so all that time, all the wasted resources making the samurai, and all the investment into the castle state. And you know what? If he tries to go champ expecting Woad Raider and Paladin shows up, it's going to be an absolute surprise and masterclass. Samurai raiding right now, though.
I don't even know if he needs paladin. If he just gets cavalier,
Yeah.
I think he can push this position. If he gets the final armor upgrade.
And he's going to also have
You don't get the
gold
final
for
armor
it.
upgrade, so I have to wait for Paladin
And there's
usually.
a risk for Admiral that he could actually get pop capped here in a second. At what point do you just give up on the castles here? Just stop repairing. It's done for you in the middle.
Yeah, 6 trebs. It's going to be really, really tough. And even if you move your trebs forward, the trebs from John will just take them out.
He does not see anything.
He's getting paladin. I love this so much. I love this so much.
Like, Japanese have amazing halberdiers, but you'd never want to go halberdier against Woad Raider. So the play here is always to go champion if you're Admiral, and then the Cavalier going to show up. I don't love showing it early, Dave. I prefer he wait, because now the tech switch can come in. But I don't
That could've
know if
lost me the
Admiral
game,
spotted
actually.
that as
That was
he's gonna
terrible.
sit back here.
Should definitely hide it.
I
I
remember.
remember years ago, we probably had the same story.
Yep.
Years ago, you were spectating a game with me, and I made
Yep.
Kelt Paladin, and you messaged me about it later, and you're like, Kelt Paladin?
Guys, Dave and I are referencing a game from like 6 years ago. I remember judging him so hard for making paladins with Celts in a 4v4 Nomad game. And we have brought this up every so often for years. And Dave was like, yeah, man, they're fast. They're stronger than Woats. The only thing is they suck if they're up against halberdiers. And here we are. They're not up against halberdiers. They're
And
not
he
even up
hasn't
against
shown
any
it.
ranged units, right? It's not
He
like...
ha- He hasn't shown anything to Admiral.
No.
So Admiral doesn't know that they're waiting, and this is the correct play from John. A lot of players would stream these in when they have like 10, but you wait till you have 20 or 30, you wait till the Paladin upgrade is in, and then when they show up at John's base, or sorry, at Admiral's base, he's gonna be panicking.
Let's see how fast that pikeman click is. Now he sees it. He's like, what? What is this? He'll probably start queuing something else. He didn't even have champion yet. And the trebs here are going to go down, Dave. It looks like the castle's going to go up then for John. And Paladin
Where
is
are the
in.
Paladin?
Yeah, so right here, it's perfect case scenario. I hid the Paladin for a long time. Now I'm bringing them out, and look at that. I have 5 trebs, and I'm ready for that all-in play that I was planning the entire time. This is kind of the idea I had from the start, because I knew that, you know, Japanese, you can't just go halberdier if you don't see Paladin, if you don't expect Paladin, because you're worried about Woads, you're worried about Celt Champions, Celt Siege, and so it's kind of just like an anti-meta call or a kind of surprise factor that ends up making them so strong. And so I go straight for the economy here. I'm not looking to give him any time, because if halberdier comes up like T90 and Dave are mentioning, it becomes a lot harder. Castles forward. I'm taking the gold now in the center whenever I get the chance to, and all the trebs going forward, looking to end the game as fast as possible with this power spike.
The moment in the economy,
It's still 160 HP. They might lack that armor upgrade. Still 160 HP. And John the Fearless. The first time we've seen Celt Paladin in a big tournament in... Well, I can't remember the last time.
I can't remember another time.
Yeah. What a great call here, Dave. Especially with how this game developed. It was just the perfect time for it. And now, if pikemen start coming out, guess what? You go into Woad Raiders, and now he's getting armor. And so it was perfect. And the game ends. John the Fearless goes up 3-1 against the Admiral.
Fantastic game sense. Imagine at the beginning of the game going into it, it's like you're Celts against Japanese. Your winning move is to make Paladin.
Well, that's actually what makes this so impressive, because you can never, and this is why I can't answer any darn question that any person asks me on Low Evil Legend Day, because it depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And in this situation, it just made sense for Admiral to go champion, and then John the Fearless recognized that and just prepped it. And the beauty is of the level of play. By the way, it seems like John the Fearless is a big fan. Thank you for that farm. The beauty of it, Dave, is that he was like making the stables before the barracks were even completed by Admiral. So he just knew the direction this game was going to go. Of course, had the gold too.
And hid them too. It's just so good. And as soon as he showed it to Admiral, it was already an unstoppable wave.
Yeah.
And he's just proving that he deserves to be here in the finals. He's up 3-1. Look at the opponents he's gone through and look at the opponent he's up against. He's truly fearless.
And Dave, that's 2 straight games where Admiral could have won. You know, it's not, it looks like a stomp with the way the Paladins came in, and that was really clutch. But Admiral was ahead by 20 villagers in the previous game. Here, it was neck and neck economically, though I'd give John the slight lead. And Japanese, if they don't try and go into that Trebor, which I feel was a mistake, you've got the Samurai Halb in your back pocket. So it's got to be frustrating for Admiral because he'll recognize this. And if you watch these games back, it's just John the Fearless with a few moments.
Yeah, so that was kind of a crazy ending there. Obviously, some really kind words from the casters. Shout out to T90 and Dave for that. But yeah, the big idea here is, I thought they were going to show the stats actually. So, okay, cool. No stats, I guess, but it's fine. I'll just kind of give my ending thoughts here. So yeah, one last thing that I want to mention about the game itself here is the fact that so like the idea going into it is because I have the gold control now in the center, my idea was that let's say if they read the play, if they spotted the stable switch and they go for Halberdier, the idea was I can burn through a lot of gold going for the Paladin, aim for their economy to get like an eco lead, and then tech switch because I've got the gold in the center, so it's not like an all-in play like on Arabia. I actually do have follow-up because of that mass amount of gold, and I did get that gold shaft mining to make things easier on me as well. So that's kind of the last thing I'll mention about this game in particular. And I think that this is the kind of thing that would never happen in a rated game. It's like in chess, being able to prepare something beforehand just makes the game look so much smoother. It looks like I'm thinking so far ahead, but all the thoughts have already been taken care of beforehand. And it's just one of the beautiful things about Age of Empires, I think, especially when you get some time to prepare. It really brings out the strategy, and it really brings out like the kind of mind games that you might expect at the highest level. So really happy with this game, and really happy that I was able to come up with such a different approach to this map. But yeah, it was a really fun one, definitely a memorable one for me and for a lot of the viewers here as well. It's kind of become a thing for me. It's Celt Paladin, so pretty proud of this game and this moment in general. And just as far as for the series as a whole, guys, hopefully you enjoyed episode 1 today. Do let me know how you guys enjoyed it, any feedback, anything at all really on how it's on how the format is. I tried to act as like a third co-caster. I wanted T90 and Dave to get a little bit of screen time because their commentary was, at the time, and so it was very, fluent and natural. But I also wanted to interject with my own commentary on the game and also kind of give a little bit of backstory and kind of background information as far as to what went into the planning and such like that, and things like that. So do let me know if you have any feedback, and if you guys would like to see more with the series. Depending on how the viewership and how the feedback is, I'll do probably once a week. Seems pretty good, and we'll go through all the classic games. I'm probably gonna start with my own games from like past tournaments, just because it's easier for me to give background info if it's my own games. But I can easily see myself covering games from other players, and like there's some incredible games from other players. Just off the top of my head, I can think of a few from Leary Viper. Mr. Yo has some insane tournament games that I can very well cover as well. So do let me know, like I said, what you guys think of the format and the series in general, and if there's any games that come to mind that you want me to cover. Start from my games from past tournaments, and we can branch out from there. Thank you for watching the video. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.